Best known for her work in the Men of Honor, Ray, Undercover Brother, The Mittenless, and The Help. Please join me and welcome Miss Ingenue Ellis.
Good evening. She touches the place that is deepest and clearest in my heart, Stevie Wonder. Ayanna Gregory. For this soul singer, dramatist, educator, and activist, music and art are more than entertainment. They are her mission. And with penetrating depth, Ayanna's music is making audiences feel and heal. In a time so needy of real and responsible art, Ayanna is bringing to the world a most beautiful and meaningful gift for the human spirit. Ayanna is no stranger to the entertainment world. She is the daughter of legendary comedian and human rights activist Dick Gregory. Ayanna knew early on that her gift of song would be her gift to the struggle. In 1990, Ayanna became recognized as a powerful and progressive voice as a student activist at Howard University. Here she was, are there the Howard people in the house apparently? All right now. Here she was called on to sing and speak at marches, rallies, and anti-war demonstrations. From there on, and for the next decade, Ayanna would become a major voice within the various cultural, political, and spiritual movements in the nation's capital. In 1992, Ayanna joined 2000 Black, a message music project, and went on to record, perform, and tour nationally with this group for the next 6 years. In 1999, she teamed up with Grammy-nominated producer James McKinney to bring forth her first solo project, Beautiful Flower, released in 2003. In 2007, Ayanna released her second CD project, Ballad for My Father, tribute to Dick Gregory, and her 2011 release, entitled Now, is quietly becoming a powerful healing anthem around the country. In 2013, Ayanna released her much-anticipated children's album entitled I Dream a World. This upbeat and powerful album is inspiring young people everywhere to actualize their greatness and live out loud. Her most recent work recorded is a soulful tribute to her mother entitled Mama, This One's For You, released in May 2014. Her newest creation is an unforgettable one-woman show, Daughter of the Struggle. This autobiographical performance reveals Ayanna's multifaceted existence as a child of the civil rights movement. Songstress, writer, dramatist, educator, and activist, Ayanna Gregory is etching out her place in the world, a place for a beautiful flower, and I would like to say on a personal note, a beautiful woman who has a gorgeous voice, which I've been listening to all day today. Ladies and gentlemen, Ayanna Gregory.
We are the children of the movement. When my sisters Lynn and Michelle, at 3 and 5 years old, were thrown in a paddy wagon, separated from our mama, and thrown in jail, 3-year-old Lynn asked my mama, "Mommy, are we in trouble?" Mommy said no. There were 10 of us, 7 girls and 3 boys. Growing up, we understood that we were not normal. We knew about FBI phone taps and death threats. But they were healing funny that Daddy brought to the space. It was a veil of protection, so that even though we knew that we were in danger, we didn't really understand. There was a healing funny protecting us, a veil that kept us from the hatred. When at 8 years old, I answered the phone and a man on the other end said, "Little girl, is Dick Gregory your daddy?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, we fixing to kill your daddy." And although at 8 years old, I couldn't wrap my brain around that kind of hatred, there was always a healing funny coming round the bend. See, Daddy wasn't the only funny one in the family. One day, my sister taught us a lesson on how to talk to government agents on the phone. See, we got so tired of hearing them click, click, clicks on the line. So one day, she's talking to her friend, and she said, "Hold up, Tracy, I'd like to give a special shout out to the FBI, funky booty inspectors. Y'all ain't got nothing better to do than to eavesdrop on some kids. See, I know what your problem is. Your mama don't love you. Daddy always taught us that fear and God do not occupy the same space. We are the children of the movement. You know our mothers: Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, Myrlie Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, Mary McLeod Bethune, Dorothy Hott. You know our fathers: Martin, Medgar, Malcolm, C.T. Vivian, James Farmer, Ralph Abernathy, Stokely Carmichael. See, I was born with wise eyes and a strong back, carrying a legacy of freedom, courage, strength, and resilience. I was built for this. In the late 1950s and the early 1960s, my daddy, Mr. Dick Gregory, he was one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Y'all know who I'm talking about. You know he got a little gangster in him, right? Yeah, he was a city slickster. He was a bold brother. He said, let me tell you something, baby girl. It's one thing to be bold up north. It's a whole other matter to be bold down south. See, a liberal in Mississippi is a cat who wants to lynch you from a low tree. Don't get it twisted. At the prime of his time, this brother, he took all of his fame and fortune and he put it right into the movement. I'm talking about a brother who could not be bought. At the prime of his time, he had reporters asking him questions like, Mr. Gregory, aren't you concerned that your involvement in the civil rights movement will negatively affect your comedy career? He said, no. The question you should be asking me is, will my comedy career negatively affect my involvement in this movement? Huh? Even folks close to him doubted him. They said, Greg, how will this affect your pocket if you do this? He said, I don't know, but I am more concerned with how it will affect my spirit if I don't. We remember the sacrifices that he made, the whisperings of the danger of the monetary sacrifices. He spent a long time down in Mississippi. The week before Freedom Summer, he flew in his own plane to bring in the food when they tried to starve the people. He took that celebrity to bring media attention to Mississippi because they said this state is the forgotten state. They don't care about him. Before the world, he was there to say, Mississippi, we are standing with you, and the whole world will know what's happening here. We are the children of the movement. I asked him one day, I said, Daddy, why was Dr. King and Medgar Evers and so many of the other nameless individuals that you celebrate, why were they so important to you? He said, baby girl, let me tell you one thing. I never thought I would see the day where I would rather be killed than killed. See, when I was a little boy, John Wayne was my hero. I used to own a 350 Magnum and dare a sucker to say something. The King and Medgar Evers, they changed that. They taught me what manhood really looks like. Looks like love and humility and kindness and the ability not only to be loving, but lovable. Huh? See, I couldn't wrap my brain around when those rednecks were beating the hell out of us. I couldn't wrap my brain around that when 4 little girls were bombed in a church. Emmett Till's face was disfigured, and I can't stop a white man from slapping my mama. I couldn't wrap my brain around that till I get to marching with sharecroppers who couldn't even read or write, grandmothers on canes, and babies who didn't even understand what they were laying their lives down for, but there we were, baby girl, marching. So you got young folks today talking about what they would have done if they were present, not understanding the climate of the day, where on any given day you might find strange fruit hanging from somebody's tree. Huh? Baby girl, there we were. We was marching. No guns, no bombs. Huh? With state troopers and sheriffs with guns pointed right at us. And we marching. We marching like an army of 10,000, and we see fear in their eyes, not ours. That's King, baby. That was Medgar. That was the movement, because we knew we was right. A lot of folk got this movement twisted, thought it was about America has reduced us to color. This movement was always about humanity. Because when we freed us, we freed everybody else. Come on now. Huh? Next time you see a white woman commercial airplane pilot, understand this movement did that. Next time you see the indentures in the South for folk on wheelchairs, the civil rights movement did that. We're talking about the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, the Fair Housing Act of 68. This movement changed the world, baby girl. I got an earful that day when I asked my daddy that question. But I tell you, I want to take this moment to be thankful for something that's very particular and near and dear to my heart. See, with all this talk about nonviolence and civil disobedience, my daddy didn't believe in giving us whoopings. Thank you, Dr. King. Thank you, Medgar Evers. Black man with the keys in your hands, oh, you opened up the way for a new day. Yeah.
Once again, Ayanna Gregory, daughter in the struggle. Next, we're going to bring up Mr. Hollis Watkins, who is going to introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Right. First, giving honor to Almighty God. It's an honor for me to come before us tonight. And I want to thank Sister Ayanna for helping me with the introduction. And I feel there's no need to be repetitive, on this subject tonight. So I will just say that I'm here to introduce, which has been done for the most part. So now I'm talking about presenting to you a man that I have known for about 53 years. And he has been one, still is one, that is no stranger to Mississippi. Back during the time when the white folks in Mississippi would not accept property bond to get civil rights workers out of jail, the call went out for some money. And this brother responded to the call and said, I believe I can raise a few $1,000s out of a brunch in Long Island. So I'm saying, brunch? What is brunch? And somebody said, oh man, said that's breakfast and lunch. I said, now, lunch? What you mean? Because, see, where I come from, we don't eat lunch. We eat breakfast, dinner, and supper. But anyway, he wanted to have a brunch and said he felt he could do something and do it. I was one of the speakers that went to that brunch, and believe you me, he ended up getting people to give over $20,000 to come back to Mississippi to help get folks out of jail. And then on another occasion, when the people in Mississippi decided that they were going to starve poor folks, they cut out the food distribution program. The farmers became mechanized. Becoming mechanized, the poor folks didn't have a job. They didn't need them to chop the cotton. They didn't need them to pick the cotton. So they didn't have a job. One cotton picker took the place of at least 100 average cotton pickers who could pick 300 pounds a day. One machine took them out of commission. So another call went out that we need some help, because if we don't get some help, these people gonna starve, these people gonna freeze during the winter. And before we knew it, this brother had food, clothes coming into Mississippi for our people. And he had such notoriety that the police in Greenwood was scared to arrest him. So that gave him too much publicity. We can't have that. So to save face and put up a good front, they'd pick him up when he get to the end of to the head of the line, put him in the police car, and we found out they were driving him back to the office and drop him off. So we began to do a rotating thing. They drop him off at the office. We rush him back down to the end, to the head of the picket line. And that went on for a while. So I'm talking about none other than our brother who has been a serious helper in the cause of the struggle in Mississippi, our own brother, Dick Gregory.
Let me first say we thank and praise God that we all made it here safely tonight. Now, that don't mean as much now as it did 50 years ago. I go all over the world having fun. Flying in here today has been something special to me. Because when I first started coming down here, the closer that plane got to Mississippi, stuff came over me which I had no control over. And then to come in here today and see cops waiting for me to bring me to you. I remember when they first integrated hotels here, I was one of the first ones to go in, and on the marquee, they say, "Welcome, Dick Gregory, room 702. But I came anyway. And my life wouldn't be one of the fine lives on the planet if it weren't for this movement. All that other stuff that they make you think it count. I didn't own a suit that cost less than $35,000. I didn't own a pair of shoes that cost less than $20,000. And coming here, I wore the same clothes. Yeah, I wore that. It make no difference. But it's something about. And the one thing I feel sorry about my children if you miss that movement, there is no words in the universe that can tell you what you missed. We can tell you the results, but not what we missed. And somewhere out of that come a black in the White House. And I say to you white folks, y'all are the luckiest white people on the planet. And every time I pray, as black as I am, I say, God, if I come back again, please let me be white. I ain't never known white folks to have the luck y'all have. When y'all finally get a black president, you get a behaved one. You don't get one that'll call you a honky or a cracker. If I was as lucky as you are, I'd go to the casino every day. But I am glad that President Obama is president for different reasons. He proved one thing to us black folks, that education ain't got a damn thing to do with it. Huh? Now y'all can stay in that pit with your eyes closed if you want to. Huh? They treat him like he's a third grade, can't read, can't write, thug on death row waiting to die. Huh? And I hope y'all see that when you talk to these little children and make them think it's about education. Huh? You can lie to them, but you can't lie to them no more. And the reason we so messed up, never before have there been anyone that went through what we went through, slavery, discrimination, the whole thing, and then we opt for education over liberation. Now, y'all play with that if you want. Liberation is close to the universal God. Education, any fool can put that book together. And y'all can sit there with all your PhDs. Oh, George Washington didn't beat up the damn British for the right to build a college. They was getting liberated. And then once you liberate, you build a college to what you like it to be, not what some white folks that's sending the money want it to be. And now it's catching up with you. Now it's catching up with you. But what white folks didn't know, the front part of that movement was so spiritual and godly, they got to come with us on this ride. I never thought I would see the day that white folks will send their children to the best colleges in the world, and as we sit here now, their children's living in the basement with it because the whole thing is messed up. Don't mess with the sister. And when we black men understand that, every child I got understood, I know who the black woman was. And 90% of my money I make from white folks, and I tell them that at the beginning. The two most powerful forces in the history of America is the black woman and the black church. And when you black men find out, I've made millions, never wrote a check in my life, she get them. And any of y'all know me, if you want to get me, you got to go through her. I'm in the phone book. I've never had a bodyguard. And I walk by myself. When you understand, not the church, but the universal God. I don't understand how you black folks think you talking to universal God and want to tell God your rent due. What kind of God that put the whole universe and don't know your rent due? And then you all talk to some God like it's not your mother and father. Huh? I talk to the real God like, oh, buddy, hey, man, fix it. I don't even tell him what it is. He know. She know. Just fix it. And that's just one of the children. And I told him from day one, it ain't about education. Hitler was educated. The real slave masters, not them punks that had some farm where you picking cotton. And all they got over that, they were so close to me. I can't be your slave without living with you. So they know how smart I am when some of you black folks don't even know. 100 years ago, these rednecks down here were saying, you let those Negroes vote, they'll be in the White House. They knew that, but the New York Times didn't know it. They knew that, Harvard and Yale didn't know it. Huh? Then they take all the stuff and say they did it. A cowboy. You know, ain't no white boy gonna call himself no boy. You saw that brother on the field smiling, talking to the sister. And he said, boy, bring that cow over here. And that boy jumped off that fence, jumped on the cow's back, and rolled it up there and put that, and that white boy said, can you do that again? And ever since then, he's been a cowboy. Ice hockey in Canada was invented with black runaway slaves. And then some dude came out named Richard Stanley. And now it's called the Stanley Cup. How can I be your slave and I work for you and you despise me, you hate me, and yet you're going to put a cotton gin together to make my burden easy? You don't need to be smart to know black folks invented that. You cannot hate me and create stuff for me to make my burden easy. It's a game. Somewhere. And I live, now I'll be honest with you, I ain't living in no ghetto. I'll come and die with you, but I ain't living there. No. Oh, I'll come back and visit. Last 4th of July, I was in St. Louis visiting the hood. I go in there and say, my man, he said, put them both up, nigga, this is a stick up. But I'll go. And I will not say anything tonight that'll upset white folks. I guarantee you that. See, I advocate it's not but about 4,000 or 5,000 white folks on the planet. The rest of y'all is imposters. See, white ain't a color, it's an attitude. And if you ain't got trillions of dollars in the bank and serious power, you can't be white. And if I took over tonight, I'd make all you black folks apologize to white folks. You mad at the wrong white folks. The white folks you mad at couldn't help you if they liked you. And you stupid enough to believe the Ku Klux Klan, the White Citizens Council, determine public policy with the most powerful businessmen on the planet. It's white American businessmen. And you think they would stand by and let the Tea Party do what they doing if it wasn't okayed by them? Somewhere. And then somewhere, some of us get something, like this brother here. Nobody have to read a script to him and tell him what this is about. Not just here, every day. Even when his foot was hurt, leg was so bad, couldn't hardly walk. He's struggling through the airport to get to another one of these. We love you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank God for the movies. That's where we got introduced to you. But that's not where we let it stay. We know who you are. And we thank you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, huh? And to you sisters, let me tell you black women something. Let me tell you white folks something that you might not know. Do you know a black woman in America is the only person in the world can take a butter knife and cut that brother's ties to the rim? And them ties got a 20-year guarantee by serious white folks. That don't mean nothing to her. And as black men, we know she ain't going nowhere practicing. There's no books out here how to cut a brother's tie to the rim. And she's so cool when she's doing it, she just asked you who's Melba. And you get attitude. So she gonna draw your bath water, finish ironing your shirt. She know you going to see Melba. And you leave there, call your man, I'll meet you at the top hat. You go out there, and all you got is some rims. Black woman. In the black church. And you black folk, now I'm not talking to you white folk, I'm talking to the brothers and sisters. You black folk better be glad I don't have no church, because couldn't none of y'all get in my church. See, I know you. I don't know white folks. I know y'all. Get your paycheck on Friday and pay off all them racist white institutions, your house note, car note, utility note. Then come the Brother Greg church with some change. I would put you out. And then all you black folks would have to pay 2 blocks before you got to the church. Well, don't you pay before you get in the movie? And if you don't like it, can you get your money back? My church be the same way. And you couldn't bring none of them old snotty-nosed children with you. You've been in a black Baptist church and the little child hollering and screaming, and you act like you don't hear. Let that nigga holler doing Super Bowl, and Pop will throw him out the window. Huh? And then you let them little old snots got nerve enough to give them some money to put in the, you know what I mean? Do you remember how old you were when you went to church with the folks from the beginning, but when they let you walk up there and drop that, you remember how old you were? I can't hear you there. Huh? You don't, but you was a little tired. Do you remember how much they gave you to put in? A penny. No, she said a penny. She right. See, that's the problem I have. You 3 or 4 years old, and you gonna bring a penny up to give the Reverend Gregory, and you got them $275 Nikes on? And then 3 days later, at 4 o'clock in the morning, you gonna call me. Reverend Gregory, I need you to pray for Billy. He got the whooping cough. He's breaking out with all kind of stuff. He got diarrhea. I said, well, I can't pray for him because I ain't got a penny prayer. But I am a minister, and I know how to humble myself. So what I'm going to tell you is say, Billy boy, put him back in that crib, let his head face east, and put them Nikes in front of him, and let him pray to them damn Nikes. Huh? Who you give your money to is who you give your power to. Hmm? Then they sitting here got to beg some money for black university. Let me tell you something. I found out mine the hard way. I told my children, none of them will go to a white college. I went to a white college. And had I not gone, I wouldn't have known. I was an athlete. I was probably one of the most powerful track high school in the world when I was there. And I know when to play dumb. Cross country, black college, never heard of it. Cross what? So I ended up at Southern Illinois University. And something happened. Where I lived in St. Louis, we didn't see no white folks. None. Movies, there was no television. So the only white folks we saw was the one coming in the neighborhood to sell you something or to collect something. So they was on their best behavior. They ain't about to call you no nigger. So the first time I was called nigger, my best friend said, come on, nigger. And that didn't bother me because nobody ever taught me what a nigger looked like. And how I'm going to be mad at something I don't know what it looked like and think it's me. But call me black and the fight was on. I knew I was black and I knew I didn't like being black. And we sitting around here today talking about the nigger thing, but don't nobody want to talk about that yellow thing, which is almost as strong now as it was then. Your white friends don't know that. This is a game. A game. And I'm telling you now, if you're not willing to change this, then have fun and have fun quick because recess is just about over. And when I look at these youngsters that was there, they taught me how not to be afraid. And if y'all look for me and all them TV film, you won't see me. I was way back in the back with the nuns. And the only time I moved up front, them white rednecks hit a nun in the mouth with a brick. I hurried up and got up front. I was in Europe the other day, and the white folks said, what's wrong with the King family? I said, they crazy. And y'all don't seem to understand. Y'all got children. How would your children be if a phone call came to the house at 4 o'clock in the morning and Coretta run and grab two and he grab, but you can't go outside. You can't call the police because they the ones made the call. Y'all can sit back, ain't never done nothing, and then wonder what's wrong with the people. These hardcore soldiers go to war and come back and wipe out their whole family. Huh? They lying to you. It's 35 commit suicide every day. Soldiers with the treatment. What about the King family? That there was nobody. All that child knew, they saw a look on mom and dad's face they never saw before. But you act the way you act when you ain't never been liberated. Just educated. And so when I told my children, they all going to black college, oh, they went crazy. Because my neighbor across the pond from me was Steinway Piano. Up the hill, Ocean Spray. I never let them go to church because there wasn't no black churches. And I'd be damned if I'm going to let them go to a white church and they never mention racism or lynching. My wife said, well, how are they going to learn? Let them go out there and hug that tree. That tree 400 years old. Ain't taking no medicine. The limbs don't go funny during a storm. So all my white folks that knew me wanted to know how come all the scholarships the Gregory children are getting, how come you won't let them go to a white college? I said, that's none of your damn business. So one day he said, do you know how many inquiries we get about the Gregory children in the state of Massachusetts from all over the world? I said, I don't know and I don't care. I said, but since you a good old white boy, I like you, I got to go to Spain for a week. And when I come back, I want to let you answer that question for yourself. Write down on a piece of paper 100 world-renowned Negroes. And I come back and he's smiling. I said, I'm sorry. And some of you black folks don't even know. Out of 100 world-renowned African Americans, you can't lie on that one. 98 of them finished black colleges, not Harvard, not Yale. Huh? So y'all go on and play your games if you want to. We had movies when Hollywood damn near wouldn't even let us come in and see them. We didn't wait. Through the black church, we knew how to act. Huh? That's the only way we could do the Christmas song and do all of that was the black church. Huh? And I don't know what you black folks got that gay thing going on with the black church. You knew them niggas was gay 100 years ago. I heard my mama tell her sister, Reverend Gully's funny. Huh? Huh? The choir director, he queer. I heard them niggas talking. Now all at once Obama get in and say the same thing, and y'all go crazy. Like, oh my God, oh my God. And the reason you act this way, because we wasn't living around white folks when you found out how white folks found about homosexuals. Then you change your stuff. Same-sex marriage. Somebody call me, what do you think about same-sex? I don't care, man. I'm glad y'all getting married so you know what we married folk go through. Somewhere. The Army, don't ask, don't tell. Y'all crazy. General George Washington with them tight satin pants on. Them damn semi-high shoes. A damn wig with makeup on and them ruffled shirts. You crazy. I ain't worried about no gays in the church. What I'm worried about, when I go all over the world, I can recognize a prostitute just by her demeanor, the way she talk, the way she chew her gum, the way she wear her wig. I can recognize a hoe without her telling me she's a hoe. But if you don't tell me you're a Christian, I don't know you one. Now tell me if there's something wrong with that. It's a game. And my whole life changed with this movement. Looking at them youngsters. I have the #1 research team in the world. If my mama was alive, some of the stuff I said, she'd call the police on me. This is the woman that worked 2 jobs. The other job was to get her children something for Christmas. And then told us a white man bought it. You know how silly you black women can be? You bought all the toys. And then say, can you imagine a Jew giving their children gifts and saying Hitler and the Nazis sent them? Huh? Ole Miss. When President Obama won the first time, they had rides. Huh? And the second time, they really went crazy. And y'all still let your black athlete, punky children go there and play for them? What kind of fools are y'all? Huh? Huh? And the great thing about Ruby Dee's death, one of the kindest, nicest, sweetest people on the planet. somewhere. Maya Angelou. That's what I'm going to teach my grandchildren. Maya Angelou. And President Obama. Everything white folks say, if you do, you'll be okay. No crime. Work hard. Obama did all that. Maya, raped when she was 5 years old by kinfolks. Wasn't in school, got pregnant, had a baby, and survived all that. And went all the way to the top. If you're going to lie to your children about the other, you should give them choices and tell her how Sister Angela did it. No hatred. And those of you that's been fortunate enough to be around the movement folks, you don't see no hatred on them. Y'all ain't done a damn thing. Badmouth white folk. Any black person in this country that haven't met a decent white folk, that's your fault. And any white person ain't met some decent black, that's your fault. Get rid of both of them, huh? Somewhere, this 50th anniversary, or if you could go back and see what really went on. We know about the 3 that was murdered, and y'all was down here, y'all know about some others. But we don't know about that whole lots of ones. They treated the civil rights folks the same way they did when they say a nigger raped a white woman. We can't find, let's bring us some niggas in. Huh? The same thing with this movement. They grabbed folks that didn't have nothing to do with the movement. They just couldn't find y'all. Let's bring them in. And don't you know, any white person that have to live where no black folks ought to be somebody, they ain't nobody in the first place. And when they really get judged by the universal God, I'm not talking about the church. You scared to let me in your school because you think I will bust out the school? All my life, white folk taught me that good schools flunk out dumb people. So now when it's going to be reversed, dumb people going to bust out Harvard. Well, it wasn't no good in the first place. This is a game. Now I say the black woman and that black preacher got some power. You ever been to Catholic church, sister? You ever go for communion? You've seen communion. Now, the black church is just once a month on a short Sunday. Catholics, they communion every day, every hour. And you don't have to lie to them to be forgiven. They know that's the mafia there. Father Superior, would you please forgive me? I killed 27 people last night, and you got to do it quick. I got 12 more to kill for noon. But now Catholics can pray. Woo! They ripping off them little boys and say, God, I know what I'm doing not right, so I'm not going to ask you just forget it, but fix it so them little tots don't remember it till they're real old. Catholic priests ripping off little bitty boys, but all you saw when that first thing broke was old men. So their prayers was answered. Guy and his wife walking down the street. He just started hollering, ah, ah. She said, what's wrong? Father O'Malley ripped me off. When? In 1904. This movement, When I came to Mississippi, I was ready to die. I didn't want to. And the more I came, the more I saw the women and the children. In the black church, 98% of the people in the forefront of that movement had Reverend in front of their name before they had PhD. And never stopped. Never stopped. Kept going and kept going, kept going. They didn't come in with guns. They came in with a universal order. And I wish I could say that we invented this movement 35 years before the 60s. A little general named General Giap in Vietnam wrote a book called People's War, People's Army. And he said, give me an army that's willing to die, and I will destroy any army that's willing to kill. And that's how we won it. And many of y'all just sit around like, we took on the mightiest army in the history of the planet with no guns and brought them to their knees. To their knees. Y'all got nerve enough to take your children to Disneyland to see a rat. But haven't been to King's grave, and had he not been assassinated, you wouldn't be welcome in Florida. That's what happened when you opt for education over liberation. I don't care how many of y'all sitting out there in this town got PhDs and money in the bank. You leave here tonight and hear that cop car with that siren on. Before you even know it, you squeeze the steering wheel. You have no control over that. And then when that cop car passed you by, you say, thank God. God didn't have nothing to do with it. They wasn't after you in the first place. There's something inside of you that you've done such nothing for what you enjoying. It's deep down in you. You don't know how to talk to your children. You think you do. Oh, you children talking about bitches and hoes. It won't kill them. The stuff you can't break yourself up is that diet, you get a stroke. Reefers ain't never gave nobody no stroke. People on heroin die from an overdose, but they don't die from a seizure that just came up. So you old black folks sit around talking about the children, and you done had strokes, sugar diabetes, heart attack, and you can't stop eating that garbage, but you want them to stop. What kind of fool is you? Somewhere, not 50 years, this is a special group. White folks came down, ready to die. I know when white folks ready to die, that's why I be hiding behind them while I'm marching. It's not about racism, sexism. It's about white supremacy. Few black folks know about it, and few white folks know about it. This planet is 3% white folks, 97% non-white, but the 3% control the whole planet. They do that through white supremacy. Bill Cosby didn't know that. When Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, he had the clout and access to the money, and they killed his son. And Bill knew something that most of us didn't know. That car, that Mercedes, he bought his son, had the technology, got a flat, you push a button, it changed his own tire. He didn't have to call nobody. How do you kill Bill's son and he can't do no more Jell-O commercials? But before he talked about NBC, white folks loved him. I turned on just to look at the commercial. Had little white children eating tapioca out of his ears. Daddy Bill, you got some more? Somewhere. What a blessing, man, just when y'all walked in the room in the other day, and I'm looking up. Now, some of you older brothers is here. I thought y'all was dead. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie. I saw the one brother walk up. I thought he'd been dead. I thought he was a spirit. I said, lay some lottery numbers on me, spirit. See, you old black folk just like my mom. You didn't believe in gambling. I don't want no welfare. What kind of fool is you? You don't want free money. I don't want no free money on your way to play the lottery. I got a company. I can leave here tonight and pick up a prostitute and take her all the way around the world with me as long as I call that hoe my secretary. It's a tax write-off. What's wrong with your free money? It's a game. Somewhere. Somewhere. And all that old crazy stuff with the Supreme Court. If y'all got the right mind, you should have learned from that. Our voting rights, we died for, willing to, been tampered with, and that wasn't no redneck, ignorant, can't read, can't write, Ku Klux Klan crap. That was 9 of the most powerful men in the world, and you ain't said a damn thing, because you ain't gonna mess with power. And that last ruling that just come through, Michigan, oh, you can't use race to get into school? And you black folks is so educated but ain't liberated. All you had to do is get on the phone and call people all over the country. We're not sending no more black athletes to the state of Michigan. They'll change that thing in a day. You don't even know the power you got. Well, how we gonna get it out? I'll tell you how you get it out. It's 5 o'clock this morning. They wake up, and I got 5 little 5-year-old girls in bed. You niggas will get that out. All over the world. Hey, man, you know what happened down here last night? Do it the same way. Do it the same way. And Christmas is not yours anyway. You threatened to boycott Christmas. 79% of all retail in America happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just organize and say, we're not buying no turkey. When you don't buy a turkey, what they gonna do with them? They can't eat them. All them wigs the sisters wearing come from Korea. All you gotta do is stop buying them. They'll give them to you because Koreans don't wear wigs. Somewhere. So I'll just say to those of you that's here that was there, thank you, man, because I've really been blessed. Really been blessed. My wife, your mother, good Christian. Daddy was a preacher. Did everything the way white folks say you're supposed to do it. We got married. You know I got your mother pregnant, so we ain't going through none of that bullshit. They come up to me and want to interview. Dad, we'd like to interview you. How did you propose to mother? I said, your sister Michelle, she's the oldest. Me and your mother got married on February the 2nd. Michelle was born April 28th. She said, oh, I think I'll do it on the astronauts, huh? So my old lady, she couldn't handle debt. When we gonna pay Sears and Roebuck? Baby, you act like we got some money. Matter of fact, Sears and Roebuck knew I wasn't paying for this stuff when I got it. I'm not about to believe that some Fortune 500 powerful white company didn't know I wasn't gonna pay for that stuff. Just the way I walked in, I didn't look like I was gonna pay for it. On the back of the application, they said, who's gonna pay for this? I said, your mama. And they gave me the stuff anyway. And a lot of you black folks, they call the bill collector and you send your children to the phone. Tell them I'm not here. Anytime you teach a child to lie for you, they'll lie to you. And if y'all know anything about current events, them bill collectors, they're not even in this country. They're in India. If you say, come get the money, they can't come get it. I had a bill collector call me. Dick, yes, it's Dick. Now they messed up because they've been trained that you're going to say, this is not you. And when you say, this is you, they got to run to the manual. What do you say when they say it's them? So this white boy say, this is not you. I said, boy, how old are you? I'm 22. I've been owing this company this money for 38 years. What make you think you gonna collect it in your lifetime? Matter of fact, if you play your cards right, you can retire on this account. And the next week, a letter comes to the house. Citizen Road, but my wife will go crazy. Citizen Road, great. Final notice. Let me see it. Final notice. Thank God we won't be hearing from them no more. And my brother, my oldest brother, he was one of the top high echelon Negroes. Can't think of the company now. And the one got busted in Texas. Enron. He was making about $3 million every 2 months. He forgot how to even be black. He moved to LA where the rich white folks live. Got him a Japanese gardener. He didn't even have no flowers. He ain't got one plant. Got a Japanese gardener and a Mexican nanny. Huh? Y'all remember about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, when them Mexican nannies went on strike in LA? All of them stayed home. Them white folks had to stay home because wasn't nobody to take care of the children, including my brother. And that's the first time he found out his children didn't speak English. Somewhere. Now he real down. He ain't got nothing. Got nothing. Called me 2 months ago. Hey, bro, they about to repossess my car. What must I do? Don't park in front of the house. Now, white folks, I have got to ask them because the rest of these black folks will not ask you. What about them dogs y'all got? I never seen nothing like white folks hire nanny to change the baby diaper, but walk your own dog and pick up the dog shit. And then kiss the dog right in the mouth. Now, black folk make like that bothers them. Because we see a dog run across the street and kiss another dog in the butt and then come back and you kissing your dog ain't washed their mouth on. And white folks, don't let these black folks tell you there's no difference between white folks and black folks. They lying to you. An example that's see Alice, advertised on TV. And if you have a 4-hour erection, go to the emergency room. Now, you know they're not talking to us. Because when you tell me about a 4-hour erection, that's a treat. Go by the pharmacist and tip the pharmacist and pray he never cuts you off. And they run it on TV in your house for your children and everybody, and you ain't gonna say a damn thing about it. Like one of my grandchildren, 4 years old. I walked around and said, Granddad, what's an erection? I said, go ask your grandmother. See, every now and then I forget how smart you black women are. He came back with that little grin on his face. I said, what'd she tell you? She told me to tell you, she'll tell me later, but meanwhile, to tell you she ain't seen one of them things around the house in years. And the way you clapping, you haven't either, have you? So as I leave you, let me thank you. But also let me explain to you what was really going on. We got government documents that tells us they were spying on the King family 80 years ago. They know who you are. And you don't know who you are. The only slave in the history of slavery, they couldn't keep us in bondage 5,000 years. Everybody else did, except us. They couldn't keep us 300 good years. Why? Because they thought they were stealing a worker, they were stealing a scientist. I built the pyramid, sucker. All that stuff you go to Europe and see, I built that. But you messed my mind up so bad, I don't know I built this. Huh? I don't know. It's somewhere. And these grandchildren, you old folks better hope you're dead by the time these real grandchildren start coming through, because they're a serious question. And one of my grandchildren asked me, said, Granddad, did Jesus come here to die for our sins? I said, that's what they say. She said, is Jesus smart? No, it's God. So I said, I don't know. Built the whole universe. Why you ask? He said, well, rather than kill his son, why didn't he kill the devil? That makes sense. If the devil's making me do it, then kill the devil. I like the story myself. I believe Jesus was sitting here to die for our sins until that last part when he said, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? Now that sounds like somebody trying to get away. Somewhere. I like that old sexist story of Adam and Eve, and you women crawl all up in that crap. Nothing ever got on this planet that the universal God that didn't come through your belly, not mine. But you buy into all that stuff. Oh, Adam. You know the story, don't you? Adam. Only person on the planet. And then he said, God, I am lonely. And when God didn't say back, how can you be lonely when ain't nobody here but you? Now, I'm going to let that alone because I know y'all scared. That's simple knowledge. Somewhere. I was with some friends in Spain doing some research on menstruation. Now, you just think it's menstruation because you heard of it. But go back. When the first humans was put here, and once a month, the woman bled without being injured. That messed men up so bad, they created all that. The blood of Jesus, the blood of the silver chalice. That was us. You go down there and say, this is his body and this is his blood. We took that away from you with our ignorance. And you still falling into it and falling into it. My mama told me she been dead, but she said whenever them guys in the alley gambling and praying to God, baby needs some shoes. Mom, they ain't got no babies. That's just an expression. So I didn't have no problem with it until 10 years ago when that Powerball got to be $600 million. You talking about a brother praying. I said, God, you know my mama didn't know what she's talking about. Not only do I want to win that $600 million, I want to win it all by myself. I don't want to win it with 12 other people. I think I can do that without prayer. And God, look at my heart. You know my heart's pure. You know I'm going to do the right thing with it. Now, I can lie to the church, but I can't lie to God. So I said, now, God, there's one little piece. I just want to put it out here. I've been married to my wife now 55 years. It was 45 years. I said, God, you know I've been married to this black woman for 45 years. I don't think I'd leave her if I get that $600 million. But you know, God, I ain't had no big money like that. You know, you see all kind of things you didn't see. I walk in the house with that check and say, Leo, what's wrong with your back? Nigga, you know I've had this hump in my back ever since I married you. I didn't see it till today. Thank you, movement. 85 years ago, the government spied on the whole King family. When King went to college, there was agents in every one of his classes watching him. They that scared of us, the real ones, because they know who you are. But just hope you don't know. To take a group led by white folks, young white folks, to do what y'all did, they'd have to have them on drugs to do that. And then you sit and listen to the lie. I ain't never committed a crime in my life. J. Edgar Hoover sent a telex to Chicago, FBI to kill me, but I got the telex before they did. If y'all keep underestimating these black folk with them bad jobs, you better try to get to know them. Because when I was in Southern Illinois University, to my surprise, the black students found out that white sororities was getting the test in fraternities. Well, I thought you knew that. How would we know? This dumb white boy, Ray Canterbury, sitting next to me, he got to be getting something. So they said, well, how are we going to solve it? Let's go talk to Mr. McClutchin. They didn't have a black person at Southern Illinois University doing anything but janitor, cutting the grass, and getting rid of the snow. So you mean Eddie, Mr. McClutchin, Negro? When you see him walk through the campus, he got keys to every room and every building on this campus. He's Mr. McClutchin. That's why everybody swear I'm a genius. I'll go talk to him. If you go to Southern Illinois University now, they say I was a genius. Never carried a book to class, never read a book in class, never took a note. Brother McClutchin was my man. Use memo, Chicago Tribune. Use FBI against Dick Gregory. That's what you all was going through. All this crap they think we know. That's what you are. Holloman ran the Memphis Police Department and Fire Department. Who is Holloman? For 30 years, he was J. Edgar Hoover's #2 man. And when they got ready to kill King, they had him retire and move in to Memphis. And the next time y'all see them pictures of King on the balcony, then ask yourself, what are them Negroes doing pointing? How'd they know it wasn't going to be another bullet? Then it gets real nasty. Then it gets real, real nasty. But y'all don't ask no questions. Topeka, Brown versus Topeka, Kansas. I'll never forget that day. May the 17th, 1954. I'm a little punk, but something bothered me about that day. Out of all the horrors I've seen about Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, how did that school come up and get the lead story that went around the world? Topeka, Kansas, what about Mississippi and Georgia and Alabama? And one day Thurgood Marshall, if his body come up, we're going to have to ask him some questions about that. Why was that chosen over the real case in South Carolina? It's a game. And I tell you that because that's what they all went through 50 years ago. All these white folks. I remember anybody was want to be a writer for me, they had to travel everywhere I went. So I'm down here in Mississippi, and Ed Weinberger, probably the richest cat in Hollywood. Comics don't make no money compared to the writers. And so they running us down the street. We're in Clarksdale. I'm trying to get to Aaron Henry's drugstore. And as we running, say, get that nigger lover, that Jew. So I said, Ed, I think they're after you. So when we get to this corner, you should go this way, and I'm going this way. And sure enough, when I went this way, they all went that way. Huh? Thank you. Not just thanks to those of you that came up, but those of you who have been dead. And I advocate what you all did. There's no such thing as natural causes. Just being here and living, it affected you. And so we say thank you somewhere. King gets killed and said, oh, we need another one. No, you don't deserve one to a customer. I'd be mad at the real God if they gave you another one, because you don't deserve it. King, all the stuff he went through, Malcolm, and a lot of you black folks, he's scared of Malcolm. Scared of go to the casino on double crutches and lose all your money, but you're scared of Malcolm? Now, I got some problems with Nation of Islam, and any of y'all here, you might as well hear them. I don't know how I don't see no fat brothers, Muslims. I don't understand how you ain't got no bumps on your face. I don't understand how y'all can stand out there 140 degrees in the summertime with a winter suit on, a bow tie, and a white shirt, and don't sweat. If I didn't know universal stuff, I'd kidnap a couple of y'all, and y'all gonna tell me how y'all do it. Scared to bring Minister Farrakhan to your meetings. Scared. And you know them because they didn't leave the neighborhood. You don't see them smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, and you have not had the integrity to ask yourself, how do they do that? And I can't do it with my children. Huh? It's a game. And black women, you ought to be ashamed of us black men. You know the mafia brings all the dope in, and they don't sell it in white neighborhoods, but you let them punks that came out of your belly stand on the corner and sell drugs with guns and stuff where your grandmother got to go past to get to the drugstore to get her arthritis medicine. Huh? And she got to walk through that field. You don't have the job to tell them they can't sell dope. You ain't no police, but I can tell, not in this neighborhood, boy. Mama, I'll kill you. You should kill me. I brought you in here. So take me out. But y'all don't do that. Somewhere. And so tonight I just say thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And thank you, Dr. King, and thank you, the whole movement. And all the lies. That's a picture of Ron Brown with the bullet in his head, and they couldn't deny it because the white folks work at the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology. They gave me the pictures. Huh? And I hurried up and put them out there. Ron Brown couldn't have no more education than him. Couldn't have a job higher than him, but he didn't know when he said to Clinton, when I come back off this trip and I got to go before the grand jury, if you think me and my son going to jail for that money we brought in for you, you crazy. He said that to that thug. And Hillary still got to explain to me how them two punks, since they left the White House broke and now worth over $100 million, what y'all selling? Somewhere. That's Army intelligence. They went into Memphis on April 28th and came out on March 28th and came out April the 10th. That's the ones who set it up, okay? Not some old punk escaped from a jail. And then when you look at all the stuff they have on Booker T. Washington, he thought them white folks loved him. Y'all punch it up. Go to the New York Times and just punch up when them white men tricked him to New York and then beat him up till he got a brain concussion and died. And they still lying about that at Tuskegee. But listen at the autopsy. Listen at the autopsy. May the 15th, 1915. Dr. B.T. Washington, Negro educator, died. And so they do the autopsy on page 2. They say he began life just as another little nigger boy. That's New York Times. Put that in. Somewhere. We turned it around and then we stopped. Tired, maybe. So I'll leave you tonight. The land of the free and the home of the brave. Y'all punch this up for me. It's the Wall Street Journal. November the 7th, 1968. Wall Street Journal. Not Jet Magazine. Wall Street Journal. I ran for president in 1968. No, don't clap. I was the one I'd asked for a recount. And I would embarrass all you black folk because after I got sworn in, I went over to the White House and dug up that rose garden and planted me a watermelon patch. And every day at 12 noon, me and my family would sit up on the top floor of the White House and eat watermelon and spit the seeds down the Pennsylvania Avenue. And I would announce there'll be no white folks in my cabinet. Now, white folks, you don't have to get upset. These black folks will come to you. What did you say? Well, I'm going to say it 5 times. There'll be no white folks in my cabinet. 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 And the only black folks could be in my cabinet is folks that dropped out the 3rd grade and can't read or write. My cousin in St. Louis, Jabbo Jones. Can't read, can't write, cuss all day, drink bad wine, and stay drunk. He'd have been my Secretary of Defense. What do I base this on? If these powerful white boys, the best schools in the world, billions of dollars they have, if they messed up the country this bad, let's try something new. So Jabbo would have been Secretary of Defense. I can just see CBS, NBC, Meet the Press messing with him. Jabbo, now that you're Secretary, what do you plan on doing about defense? He said, first I'm going to fix it, then paint it. And before some of you white folks leave tonight, I want a couple of you to hang around because I'm fixing to open me up a black airline, and I need at least 2 of you so I can qualify for the minority loans. And it's going to be a black airline. I'm going to name it Tamika Air. And my motto is, we leaves late, but we get you there on time. And I can guarantee you, white folks, you'll never have a bag lost on my plane because I'm not going to let you bring none on. And we're going to be a good Christian airline. No whiskey sold on my plane. You bring your own whiskey, we sell the setups. So if any of you black folks got a complaint about the airline, take it to white folks. That's 99.9% everyday white folks. Any of you white folks got a complaint about Greyhound, bring it to me. That's us. And I don't know how you white folks let them airline treat you that way. They make you walk 3 blocks, 3 miles to get to the damn plane. And you act like you're not tired. Greyhound, they bring that bus up to your toe because they know we ain't going to tolerate that. They lose your damn bag. I had United lost my bag a month ago, and I go and talk to the lady, and she said, well, we don't know. We just have to. I said, well, let me speak to the supervisor. She said, he's on the first floor, room 12. I go up there. He's standing there with my outfit on. But Greyhound is so cool. They have bus crash in Arizona. Went down an embankment, 7 miles. The airliner said, well, we looking, we don't have no more information. The federal people just landed, and they're going to have a investigation that'll lead 18 months. Greyhound, bring you out there? They said, nah, see down there, that's where the bus is. And ain't nobody going down there because we know they all dead. Or what caused it? He's probably on crack. Now you got this checkbook, and he said to you, miss, your husband was on there. How much would you say he was worth to you? Now don't get into none of that. Oh man, no, these are serious white folks. You just tell them. They don't hear no crying or nothing, huh? So how much? They'll give you a check for $12 million right there on the scene. And the worst thing can happen to you, not the wreck, is 3 days later having his funeral and trying to look sad. So again, we leave you and we just say thanks to all of you. And somewhere, before you go to bed and when you wake up in the morning, just close your eyes and see this room. And ask for blessings. Then you know how powerful you are. Ask for blessings. Then you know how powerful you are. Little children came here with their own directions because the older folks said, I was with both of them. I was with the big folk, they did do a little drinking every now and then. They didn't do nothing but run around looking for some toast. We can turn this around. Be happy. If you got that old evilness in you, you should hang around a couple of days and follow these youngsters around. They're 50 years older, and they ain't bitter. They ain't got wrinkles in their face where they've been frowning all the time. Just follow them around. That's what this movement was about. And to you white folks that came in here just because it was the right thing to do, the right thing to do, you was here and knew you was in trouble. Some of you, because I know y'all born with 300 years of white privilege. I know some of y'all would have shot back. I love you. God bless you. Peace be with you.
Dick Gregory, we're going to bring him back for an encore. I know he ain't finished. Woo, baby. Karen,
Yes, sir.
it's on you.
Oh, no, no. That's a tough act to follow. There's honestly not that much more I think to say. I would just like to add my personal thanks to the people in this room for the work that you've done. It has made possible what I do, and that there are more voices and faces like mine on your television, so I appreciate that. It's been an incredible evening, obviously the culmination of an incredible week, of an important week. It's been an honor to be here. I think we all go away with some wisdom and a lot to think about and a lot of work to do. And I think with that, Danny, I'm going to let you say what you want to say.
I want to thank you for being here to this historic anniversary as we have honored those who so graciously devoted their lives, and to the activists following in their footsteps. Have a great night, and all of you who've been holding your bladder, let it go.